March, the Athens City Council introduces an ordinance that could determine the future of the Athens-Hocking Recycling Center. Plus, Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi is pronounced dead after a helicopter crash. And Berry Day week celebrations begin in Athens, Ohio. Well, the Athens City Council is considering an ordinance that could put Athens into a waste management cog. Good evening. I'm Haley Sueno, and welcome to Newswatch. Joining us from Athens City Hall is Newswatch reporter Lucy Schaefer. Lucy?
Haley, thanks so much. And tonight's discussion is the result of a months-long process trying to save the AHRC. Now that future hangs in the balance because back in January, Athens decided to switch their garbage provider to Rumpke. Members would the ordinance introduced by all council members would authorize Mayor Patterson to take all steps necessary to join the Southeast Ohio Recycling Terminal Council of Governments. After the city switched to Rumpke, some community members were upset because they wanted to keep their services with a local company, even though services with AHRC were more expensive. This is the first time an ordinance involving membership into the COG is being formally introduced. Now community members like Krissa Cummings, the executive director of AHRC, are expected to be here tonight. Live from City Hall and for Newswatch, I'm Lucy Schaefer.
Thanks, Lucy. Well, Athens is currently dealing with low finances in their funds. The cash reserve balance sits at 5.93%, and Athens policy requires this number to be at 7.5% or higher. An ordinance involving Athens membership fees for the Outdoor Recreation Council of Appalachia is up for its third reading in council tonight, which would include a $90,000 payment. Councilmember Swank is planning to propose an amendment to this tonight, stating that the city will only make this payment if their reserve cash balance is back to 9%. Well, the city of Athens is now able to enforce their own tobacco regulations following a ruling in the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas. Athens and 20 other municipalities sued the state of Ohio over a law preventing local governments from enacting regulations on tobacco products. They argued it would limit their home rule authority. And on Friday, Judge Mark Surratt ruled the law unconstitutional. The state plans on appealing the decision soon. Athens, Jackson, and Perry County Children's Services are among 34 agencies across the state receiving additional funding. The 3 children's service agencies are set to receive funding from Ohio Governor Mike DeWine and the Department of Children and Youth for being leaders of innovation in child welfare. Aid amount for the 3 agencies will total $225,000. The agencies will receive $75,000 each to provide increased intensive emotional and behavioral care to foster children in the region. Well, construction affecting traffic flow on the Dairy Lane project will continue. Road closed signs will be up during work hours until Thursday as contractors begin installing curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. Dairy Lane will fully reopen to traffic over the weekend, though road closed signs will be reinstalled during work hours next week. As for this week, the Athens Fire Department will be working on fire hydrants on 2 streets. Both East and West State Street hydrants will be tested and flushed. Residents may experience some discoloration in water due to iron sediments, but the water will remain safe to use and there will be no boil order issued for the area. The testing will occur Monday to Friday between 8 and 4. Questions can be directed to the Athens Fire Department or the Engineering and Public Works Department. All right, well, you are now taking a live look at the Nelsonville Public Square, where today's temperature, it reached a near record high at 88 degrees. Now joining me is our weather forecaster, Isabel Isco. Isabel, can we expect to see these super high temperatures continue?
It is looking like it for these next couple of days. We have seen these high temperatures that have really been skyrocketing up here. It has reached almost 90 degrees, which is our historical record high. Taking a look at these last 24 hours, you could see that even at nighttime, whenever we're experiencing those overnight lows, we're still in those mid to high 50s, which you can't really complain about. Looking at currently out there, you can see that Athens 87 right now. We are on the start of that lower side, still staying pretty consistent out there in those mid to high 80s. And as we go look a little bit more south, Huntington 85, Parkersburg 86, Lancaster 87. Looking at that radar out there, it has been a beautiful one out there. You can't deny it. If you've been able to enjoy being outside, getting to enjoy those sunny skies and these warm temperatures. Over in the Midwest, you can see that that radar is not looking as beautiful as it is here. There is this pretty intense system happening in that Midwest that could be affecting us going into the week. I'll be getting more into that, but you can see that here in Ohio, we have been very lucky of having no kind of rain like that. That temperature, that high of today of 89 in Athens, we're starting to get into those severe levels out there. And tomorrow we're going to be looking even higher with that temperature and looking at some rain in our future. So definitely stick back with me with my full forecast later. Let's take it back to Haley.
Thanks, Isabel. Well, 3 juveniles were arrested early Sunday morning after reports of guns being fired inside the Athens parking garage. According to the Athens Police Department, the incident occurred just after 1 a.m. No one was injured in the incident. The police report lists charges of tampering with evidence, aggravated menacing, and discharging weapons. The minors were released and await charges from the county prosecutor. Athens and Ohio University police both reported to the scene alongside the sheriff's department. Well, Guernsey County Sheriff's Office continues their search for a missing person. The family of John Sigmund says they've been looking for him since May 10th. The Ohio Attorney General's office approved the request to upgrade the status of Sigmund to a Silver Alert, a public notification system to broadcast information about missing persons. Police say that Sigmund left in his 2013 silver Ford truck after speaking with his daughter on their home phone. The sheriff's office says that he began to experience memory issues recently and he does not have a cellular phone. If you see Sigmund or his truck, contact 911 or the Guernsey County Sheriff's Office at the number on your screen. Well, unemployment in Ohio continues to rise. Per the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services' latest report, the number of unemployed people has increased by 33,000 in the past 12 months. The unemployment rate in April was 4%, 0.2% higher than March, and over 0.5% higher than last year. Jobs in construction have seen the biggest hit, with employment decreasing by 7,600 people from March to April. Well, coming up, Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi is pronounced dead after a helicopter crash. And why Gen Zers are falling into credit card debt.
And for weather, how tomorrow we're going to be seeing pretty consistent temperatures in those 90s and how we're going to be getting rain by the end of next week. Next on Newswatch.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, who are the lucky folks who made it into our 13th episode of Junk in the Trunk?
We seen the signature and we're like, wow, we got something here.
My godfather he gave it to me as a gift because, to be honest, I am the favorite.
There's only one first
Only
Iditarod.
one first race.
And here I am just swinging it around here.
Don't miss Antiques Roadshow, Junk in the Trunk 13.
Tonight at 8 on WOUB.
It's incredible. How do you find these things?
On Finding Your Roots, Jesse Williams.
Before anybody even tried to get to know me or talk to me, just what are you?
And Sunny Hostin.
It was a constant question.
Complex identities revealed.
I feel more full. It just completes a picture.
And an ancestor's powerful act.
He signed
the document
with an X.
Now you got me crying.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Our goal is to make sure that our community isn't invisible anymore.
This is my family and my culture.
It was a revolution to show the Asian American experience.
We brought the example of doing it despite everything.
We have to come out together and raise our voice.
It's important that you see us for who we are.
Regardless of your stage of life, whether you're starting your first job, getting the keys to a new home, or enjoying retirement, it's never too early or too late to create an estate plan to care for loved ones and support the causes that are meaningful to you. WOUB Public Media is pleased to have partnered with Giving Dogs, a free resource for building an estate plan that fits your needs and protects the people and causes you care about. Visit woub.org and click the support tab to get started today.
Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi and other high-ranking Iranian officials have been declared dead after a helicopter crash yesterday. The helicopter crashed into the mountainous province of East Azerbaijan in Iran. Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdollahian was with Raisi and has also been confirmed dead. They were traveling with other officials to the Iranian city of Tabriz when the incident took place. The United Nations Security Council held a moment of silence Monday morning in memory of Iran's president and foreign minister. His death comes amid a challenging time for the country. Iran has been crippled by American sanctions while facing increasing tensions with its Middle East neighbors. The U.S. expressed its condolences and reiterated support for the Iranian people as they select a new president.
The approach to Iran has not changed and will not change. We will continue to support the people of Iran to defend their human rights, their aspirations to an open, free society and democratic participation.
Mohammad Mokber will serve as the country's interim president. Iran's constitution mandates a new election must be held within 50 days. Well, the Dali cargo ship that hit a Baltimore bridge was refloated and transported earlier today. While the ship is free, the crew is not. Regulations have them stuck on board where they've been since March. Amy Kiley reports.
Recent demolition work is what gave the Dali cargo ship a path to freedom. It's been stuck under the wreckage of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge since it hit the structure and caused its collapse in March.
We're very lucky that the hull was never damaged at all during the event.
Officials say transporting the Dali takes up to 5 tugboats.
I mean, we have a ship that's the size of 3 football fields.
But freeing the ship doesn't mean freeing its crew members. Regulations have them stuck on board where they've been since the crash. The law requires a ship like the Dali to have a crew at all times. Now, the workers' visas have expired. A union representative says they're waiting for immigration officials to tell them when they can go home. Further complicating matters is the ongoing investigation.
Without the propeller turning, the rudder was less effective. They were essentially drifting.
The union says the FBI confiscated crew members' cell phones last month, and they feel disconnected from family. The company that manages the Dali says it hopes authorities will let the workers disembark soon. As for the channel, the Army Corps of Engineers says soon
We're going to be able to bring anything through the Port of Baltimore, anything that would have come through before.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Looking at our full look at weather, we've had those beautiful skies, the beautiful conditions today. That high today in Athens of 89 degrees. But whenever we're looking at that temperature low, we are still not experiencing as low as we would be. We're looking at some record highs and lows for today. That overnight low of 60 degrees. So if you didn't get to experience having those skies during the day, we're still going to be experiencing some pretty warm temperatures at night. So if you want to take that afternoon stroll, it is perfect weather to do so. Looking at that regional radar, you can see that system that I was talking about earlier that has been giving some pretty severe weather to the Midwest, and it will be continuing to do that over in the Illinois, Indiana area until about Wednesday, whenever it's going to start affecting us. Looking at today's enhanced weather look, you're going to be seeing that enhanced severe storm risk, that slight, and as it's going to be making it this way, it is getting even more in, it's going to be making its way this way with continuing that slight risk as we're looking into Wednesday night. Looking at our area, we're in that high pressure system. We were experiencing that a little high of relative humidity, getting pretty humid over the weekend. You can see that low pressure system that made its way out today. So it has been a dry heat, which is a lot better than having that wet heat whenever it really gets into those higher temperatures, because that is whenever it starts getting dangerous to those high temperatures. But we are in that high pressure. It is getting drier out there, but it's still going to be very hot tomorrow. We're looking at a temperature high of 90 degrees. Whenever we start passing that 89, 90 degree threshold, that's whenever it gets pretty health risking out there. So if you're going to be going outside, don't make it too long. We're going to be having those temperature highs of 90. Partly sunny skies, so hopefully you'll get a cloud here and there to cover that. Once you're looking at 12 hours ahead, still in that high pressure, once we're looking at a day ahead, that's whenever we really start to see that clearing out. We're going to be having some pretty significant UV indexes looking at tomorrow evening. So if you're going to be outside, put on that sunscreen. It is going to be very, very clear out there for that UV to really be hitting. Looking at 36 hours ahead, that's whenever you're going to see this most severe to that low pressure system, and that's whenever it's going to be making its way down. Looking at Wednesday night, that is whenever it's going to give us that 30% chance of thunderstorms. We're also going to see that coupled with a low pressure system, with a cold front. So we're going to see temperatures dropping, but you can't really complain whenever that temperature drop is still going to be at 77. Looking at the rest of the week, we're still looking at those chances of storms. So definitely stick with us to see when that rain will finally be ending. Let's take it back to Haley.
Thanks, Isabel. From television and internet to video games, media is everywhere, and it can have a significant impact on a child's health and their well-being. Over the summer, many children have more free time and potentially more screen time. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has the 5 C's of media use.
In the age of technology, it can be hard to know how much is too much time spent in front of a screen.
Each of our children are different. We love them all the same, but they're all different.
The CDC says excessive time spent on screens has been linked to things like weight gain, physical inactivity, reduced sleep quality, poor body image, poor nutrition, depression, and anxiety. That's why setting screen time limits now is important, and how parents do it is also critical, says Chris Ivany with the Family Care Center.
That's what really develops the relationship, between especially teenagers and their parents, is how they engage on things like screen time.
Ivany says the 5 C's of media use can help. The first C is for child. Since parents know their children, think about how media affects them, what they're attracted to. Next, content. Learn about what your child is watching, what games they're playing. Third, calm. What are other ways to calm brains and bodies down instead of media? Fourth, crowding out. If media use is stopping your child from things like family quality time, sleep, or time outdoors, think of ways to get that time back. Finally, communication. Talk about media early and often.
The best way to look at the 5 C's is that it's a framework, for parents to think about screen time and their particular child.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
As Americans struggle with credit card bills, Gen Z credit card users are plunging into debt, according to the New York Federal Reserve. Michael Yoshida has more on why many young people are in debt.
As Wall Street hits historic highs and unemployment remains low, experts say cost of living continues to be a struggle for millions of Americans, with many turning to their credit cards to make payments.
Credit card balances have been on a really steep incline lately. High inflation and high interest rates are really squeezing borrowers.
The New York Fed recently found that for Gen Z credit card users, who it defines as those born between 1995 and 2011, around 15% have maxed out their credit cards. For Gen Xers, the number is 9.6%. And for baby boomers, the number drops to just under 5%.
Gen Zers tend to have lower credit limits because they're newer to credit. So it is easier to max out, let's say, a credit card with a $1,000 limit or $2,000 limit as opposed to maybe $5,000 that somebody who's more established might have.
A third of maxed out borrowers, those using 90 to 100% of their limit, have gone delinquent in the last year, compared to less than a quarter before the pandemic. With severe delinquencies, those 90 days overdue at their highest level since 2012. While many Americans of all ages are struggling, high inflation and high interest rates are making it especially difficult for young people to get established.
It does seem to be hitting young adults the hardest because they have lower incomes, they have lower credit scores. There's a record amount of young adults who are living with parents because these household formation costs have really never been higher.
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
Well, coming up next, Berry Week celebrations begin in Athens. And for the latest from Newswatch, follow us on Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, and our YouTube.
Unbelievable.
Tonight at 10 on WOUB.
An American Experience.
There will be a curfew starting at 11 o'clock.
We have cities all across the country up in flames.
Johnson's being faced with pressure to do something.
Creating a presidential commission was the best option.
The Kerner Commission told the truth, but it was a harsh truth.
There is this problem. Let's not sweep it under the rug.
The Riot Report. An American Experience.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
Over 200 local newsrooms, over 3,600 journalists, a community of 300 million Americans. The NPR network is listener-supported, independent journalism in communities around the country. It amplifies more voices, more Americas, and takes all of us on new journeys. It takes all of us closer to home. It takes all of us.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
This evening begins Athens Berry Day Week, a week-long celebration honoring the legacy of Black entrepreneurs Edward and Martha Berry. The week kicks off with a screening of WOUB PBS Public Media's The Lincoln Story. Joining us from the Athena Cinema is Newswatch reporter Betty Convoy-Deal.
I am here at the kickoff event for Berry Day Week, and moments ago, the keynote speaker for today's event, Chris Boyd, addressed the crowd, and he spoke on entrepreneurship. And before that, there was the Berry specials on display. And what this is that for the rest of the week, when you go to your favorite eatery, you will find these specials on display. Proceeds from this sale will go to the Mount Zion project. Currently, the documentary is screening, but I have here with me Ada Woodson-Adams. She is the president of the preservation of the Mount Zion Black Cultural Center. Welcome to WOUB, Ada.
Thank you, Betty, for having me.
So tell us about the significance of today and the rest of the week.
Well, today we're here to celebrate the legacy of Ed and Mattie Berry, who were two Black entrepreneurs in the late 1800s who started a business that grew into one of the most famous hotels in American history. And their legacy is continued with what we call the Berry Day Week. And because we celebrate today, but we continue the celebration all week through our businesses who are participating in sponsoring a special item from their business with the name Berry attached to it.
Okay, and finally, tell me about the inspiration you want the people of Athens, and particularly Black people, to draw from the legacy of Ed and Mattie.
One of the things that I would like for people to remember is that if you believe in something, it can be achieved. And so therefore, I want them to take away that you can do anything that you want to do, like Ed and Mattie Berry.
All right, thank you very much, Ada Woodson-Adams.
Thanks, Betty. Well, still ahead, now a surgical tool can help revolutionize medicine. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
The legacy that you leave is people think of you and what touches their heart to the point that they remember.
We talked about that a lot, like how does this team want to be remembered? And we worked hard to be remembered, differently than everybody else.
If you put your name on someone's heart, that's going to last. Ultimately, that's more important than a championship.
If you don't drive it, donate it and support something you use every day.
Join us for the 35th anniversary of the National Memorial Day Concert, a night to honor our troops, our veterans, and our military families.
Join me, Joe Mantegna.
And me, Gary Sinise.
With Bryan Cranston, B.D. Wong, Jenna Malone, Mary McCormick, Gary Lovax,
Ruthie Ann Miles,
Jamie Johnson, Bettina Miller, and Cynthia Erivo.
The National Memorial Day Concert.
Sunday at 8 on WOUB.
It's Elvis Presley!
Elvis was a very patriotic fellow. He was more sensitive now to understanding World War II since he wasn't in it and understanding about this story.
Thursday at 10 on WOUB.
Finally tonight, Sony is showing off its new surgical robot tool. The prototype was unveiled at the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers International Conference at Yokohama. The robot works by replicating the movements of surgeons' hands and their fingers. That lets the instrument itself operate smoothly while it is useful in microsurgeries, especially on small tissues, veins, and nerves. Sony says they will work with the university medical departments and institutions to help make the device more accessible to doctors. Wow.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
Is whenever they did surgery on like a grape.
They did surgery on a grape?
It was a lot more like, I feel like that looked a little bit more like very concise, but
yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up later. Corn. Well, hopefully if you're out there grilling some corn on that grill, you're going to be seeing those beautiful skies out there for these next couple days for some grilling. Currently out there, I'm jealous of Betty and Lucy for being outside, 87 degrees and those clear skies. Looking at that overnight low tonight of 60. So if you didn't get to enjoy those beautiful temperatures today, you're going to still be able to continue to having them tonight. So if you didn't get to be outside, you'll be able to be outside later still and still feel pretty comfortable. Tomorrow, we're starting to get a little bit uncomfortable with those temperatures with that high of 90. Those partially sunny skies and that temperature low of 65, it's still going to be a hot one pretty much all day. Tomorrow, whenever you're hitting that bus stop, whenever you're hitting that workload, we're going to see temperatures already at those high 70s. We're going to be seeing those clear skies for the rest of for these next couple days, but then we're going to be hitting that rain. So definitely stick with us on how that'll affect your rest of the week.
Alrighty, well that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Isabel Isco, Lucy Schaefer, and Betty Conkamboidu, I'm Haley Sueno. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on social media. We hope you have a great night.
Support comes from Carpet One Floor and More, local